Today we are gonna be making this small rock car. It's made out of around 300 parts. It uses 5M motors for driving and steering, and it's very simple and powerful. So I hope you guys are gonna enjoy the building process. We are gonna need one battery box. You can use the lithium polymer or the AAA battery box. A receiver. I suggest you to use the V1 receiver because the V2 doesn't support more than 1 M motor per channel. And we are gonna need 5 M motors. 4 for driving and 1 for steering. 4 of these tires, they are 81.6 millimeters, if I'm right. Yeah, 81.6 millimeters. You can also use the smaller ones, like these ones, but then the off-roader will be have less ground clearance and it will be slightly slower. We are gonna need 4 of these, the softest black springs, 2 ball joints with male and female parts, 4 of these gearbox connectors, 2 linear actuator brackets, 1 steering rack, 2 6-stud long pins, and 2 9 long. We also gonna need 2 long panels, normal 1x4 brick and 2 transparent bricks, and 2 small panels, nothing really fancy here. For the half beams, we are gonna need 8 of these new type beams and 4 of the old ones. You can also use the new ones. Some of these, I think 4 of these or 6, I'm not sure. Some of these and some 4 or 8 of these, nothing really fancy here. For the gears, we need 3 12-tooth bevel gears, 2 20-tooth bevel gears, 4 of the thin 20-tooth gears, 4 of the 12-10 thin gears, 1 8-tooth gear and 1 24-tooth gear, and 2 universal joints for the front axle. Axles, nothing really special here. We need 4 axles with 5.5 long axles, a few 4L axles with stops, actually just 2, and the usual 7-stud, 9-stud, 5-stud axles, nothing. For the connectors, my connectors, I sorted them by color so you can see what they are. We need 3 of these. We need 4 of these, which are a bit more specialized, but I don't think they are too specialized. 1 of these, 4 of those for suspension, and that's about it. Nothing really fancy here. For the beams, mostly we need 9-studded long beams. There might be 1 11-stud long beam, 7 or so 5-studded long beams, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I also think there are 7 or 8 of the pins. Mostly 3-stud long pins and 2-stud long pins, some 3/4 long pins. We need 2 of these ball pins with cross axle, and we need where are they? 4 of the frictionless 3-stud long pins. These are gonna be used for suspension. Other than that, we need a few bushings and that's about it. Okay, we're gonna start with the front axle. First we start with a ball joint. We attach two of these here. Then we use two 9L beams, 9 stud long beams, and put it like that. We'll put two of this, and this is gonna be the front axle. Now we take one connector and put 3 stud long axle inside. Now we take a 20-tooth gear and the 9 stud long axle. We put the axle on this position. Then we put a pin here and a beam here. We put two ball pins here. This is where the suspension arms are gonna come. Next we take two motors. Now for each motor we have to use one of these. We put the pins inside like this and put it in the motors. Now remember, the motors have to be upside down on the axles so that the cables don't get twisted. So we put one motor like this, the second motor like that. Okay, then we take two of these and 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and we just connect them like this. And like this. Now we take the 3 corner pins and one of these and make an assembly like that. Also make one more from the other side like this. Axle here and these two sets. We take one friction pin with a cross axle and the second one. Now remember, these have to be like symmetrical. Now we just put this inside like this. It seems a bit wibbly wobbly right now, but it's gonna get stronger. You'll see. Now we put a 7 stud axle and two stud long half beams inside here like this. You can also put another 7 stud axle here. Now we need to put a 9 stud beam with 2 pins up here. This is where the suspension is gonna later attach. Now we actually have to remove the motors ever so slightly and put in the 3 stud long axles and 2 12-tooth gears like this, and then we just put the motors back where they were. It's a bit tricky, but you will manage. Well, if nothing else works, you can just prepare the whole assembly like this, and then just put it here and put the axle like this. This should be much easier for you guys. Okay. Now we take a 12-tooth gear, a 20-tooth gear, and we take one half bush like this, and we take a 12-tooth gear like this, another 20-tooth gear. Make sure that both gears are on the same side of the motors, and we put one more bush right here. So this is our main drive axle. Now for the front halves, we use two of these gearbox parts and two 5.5 stud long axles and the two universal joints like this. Now we simply attach the U-joints to the main drive axle, and we secure this with a pin with a ball joint like this. Now we use two 3 stud long pins with normal pins next to them, and we use two L-shaped beams like this to make the steering arms. Now we take the two frictionless pins, we put them like this, and we take these connectors and put them like this. These gray connectors is where the springs will attach to. Now we use these connectors to finish the front suspension and axle. So it's like this. Now for the steering, we are gonna use a normal steering rack and the 11 stud long pin. This one is 11 long. We just put the steering rack in the middle of the pin. Now this is the steering rack, and now we just use two of these friction pins, and we just put it on the steering arm like this. I always use friction pins so that I don't have any slack in the steering. So this is the front axle steering. Now all we have to do now is connect the motor and motorize the steering. For that, we use one of these connectors, and we use a 3 stud long friction pin and two beams like this. Now we attach the whole thing like this, put the axle through like this. Now to stop it from moving, I'm using two of these beams or connectors, or however you call them, like this. And to reinforce the front part, use 2 of the blue connectors on each side, like this. Now the front axle is much sturdier. Now we take axle 4 with a stop and a 24 tooth gear. We put them inside like this, and we put a 12 tooth gear and a bush on the other side. So now it steers. For the motor, we will attach it using these connectors and 2 friction pins with cross axles, like this. And we put an axle 4 with a 8 tooth gear, like this. We put that like this, and we put 2 bushes with friction that will keep the axle from falling out. And we just put the motor like this. Now to finish the front axle, all we have to do now is just attach one of these connectors on each side, and then we just put a 2-studded long axle inside here to reinforce the axle. So this is about it. Front axle is now complete. Now for the rear axle, we start the same way as we started with the front axle, but it's gonna be simpler. Start like this, and we put a 3-stud long pin like this. Now for the motor assembly, we use friction pins with axles and the connector parts, which are for the gearbox. And we repeat the same thing here. Like this. Now we put the 2-stud long friction pin inside like this, and a 5-stud pin like this. Remember, the motors have to be upside down, like the front axle. So we are just making the same steps as the front axle for now. It's like this. Now we put inside the drive axles for the motors, and the corresponding gears like this. And on the bottom we put a 2-stud long pin with a connection like this. So this is the motor block prepared for further assembly. We use the same process as by the front axle. We use these box, the combination of these connectors. We just put them inside like this. And remember to put the friction pins with cross axles on each side like this. We just attach this like here. I'm sorry for my parrot screaming, he's a bit crazy. I think that he got that from me. Now we use a 5-stud axle here and a bush, and we attach the whole thing together like this. Now we take a 9 long axle with 22 gear and put it inside this, like this. And we put 2 of the connectors, axle connectors on each side. Make sure it's spinning smoothly, like this. Okay. Now we take the motors, put them in position, and use a 3-stud long axle to connect the motors, to the axle, like this. Now we use 3/4 pins, like the front axle, and we put them inside these connectors, like this. And we put the triangle parts like this. We use 5.5 axles on the rear. Now we take the linear actuator bracket and we put a normal connector like this inside, and repeat this step with the second bracket. Now we put the brackets on the axles like this, and we put 4 pins with a ball joint on top, like this. Now, to put the gears inside the front axle, we have to put the gears on the other way around, like the front axle. The rear axle on the front axle, the gears should be on the other side. So, when the whole thing is assembled, the gears, the 22 steam gears, are on the same side, because the motors are spinning in the opposite direction. So we put it like this. And we use a 12-tooth gear, like this. And a half push on the end to hold the whole thing together. Now the rear axle can spin. Now we put a 3-stud long friction pin like this, and the 2-studded one next to it, like this. We make this assembly, and we put it on the top of the axle, like this. This will stop the axle from moving. Now we use the 3-stud long frictionless pins. We put them inside like this. And again we use the connectors for the suspension arms. And finish the axle, we use these connectors, and we just put them inside like this. So this is the rear axle. All we have to do now is just connect 2 more of these connectors like this, and put the 2-stud long axle, and we put 2 ball pins on the sides like this. Now for the central bottom, we use the female ball joints, and we start with connectors like this. We make 2 of these. Now we attach 2 of this with 2 more connectors like this. Like this. Now remember, one side, the front left side, uses a bush here. All the other sides use the connectors like this. And we put the half stud, 3 studs long half beams on the sides. These are gonna hold the main links, which will stop the axles from moving sideways. And we put the pins like this. So this is actually the main body, the main thing that will hold the crawler together. Now let's continue with the body. We are using L-shaped pins with a combination of this connector. We just put this like so. Now we take this connector with 3 holes, put a pin inside, and put it like this, and put a 5 stud long axle. Now for the front part is a bit more trickier. We are using this axle with the connector. Now we just take the remaining half beam and put the connector inside. We're gonna put it like this. Okay, now we use the friction pin like this and another connector like this. Now we use a 5 stud lock axle and we put the last bush like this. We use a friction pin like this and a pin joiner like this, and we put 3 more pins inside like this. Now we take 2 of these connectors and we put half pins inside them, put them so they are symmetrical, and we put them here. Now we take the battery box, and remember where the plug is. This part comes here, so there is room for the connector. Now we just finish the main body like this, so that the battery box cannot fall out. Now we use 4 of these connectors. We put them inside here. This is where the springs will attach, and we prepare the springs with the frictionless pins with axles. Now for the receiver, we take 2 half pins and 2 of these connectors and 2 half pins, and we have to use, yeah, I made a mistake. We actually have to use 7 stud long axles, not 5, like this. Sorry for the mistake. Now we connect these together like this, and we put the pins inside. Now this is gonna go on the rear part of the crawler like this. And we put 4 of these connectors in each corner. These are gonna stop the springs from sliding outside. Now we take our receiver and connect the battery box like this, and I think we are ready now to connect the axles. Let's start with the front axle. Take the front axle and pop it inside. Now in the front we are using the 6 stud long links to fix the axle on one side and another. Now we take the springs and attach them to the connectors like this, and on the other side we repeat the process and we attach them like this. Now the front axle can move. Steering motor goes to the blue port, while the drive motors go to the red port. Like this. So if we turn on the model, the steering works. And so does the front axle drive, which is quite strong. Now we take the rear axle and attach it. Remember to route the cables nicely. This is why the motors are upside down, so they have room for the axle to move. I'm using 9 stud long links here. You can use 6 studded ones too, but I prefer the 9 studded ones. And we also attach the springs like the front axle. And we plug in the motors. Like this. Now make sure that all the axles spin in the same direction. They are. Steering works. Now we can put the wheels on the crawler. have our crawler, which is quite fast and strong. You can see that the axle have enough power to spin all the wheels. And now for the bodywork, we use the 3 stud long pins and connect them like this. This is gonna be the front of the truck. Then we use a friction pin with a cross axle and few axles and connectors like this. And we connect this to the rear like this. This is gonna be the main body of the truck. To the truck. Like this. Now to finish the body, use these connectors like this, put it on top like this, and do the same on the other side. Like this. Attach 2 pins like this and 2 connectors like this to make the rear of the truck. Now we make 2 of these and we attach them like this. These are gonna hold the windscreen. Like this. Now we use friction pins and we insert them on the end of these connectors to make the roof, and we simply attach the roof to the body with pins. Now we put the axle, use one of these connectors and put it on top like this. And to finish it off, we use a brick plate with 2 lights on top which go like this. So this is our finished crawler. It's a fast, agile and powerful little thing. It's a fun toy to play around. Now, if you take some time and you can manage the cables and stuff like that. But all in all, it's a very simple, very powerful and very light crawler, which I hope you guys are gonna have as much fun driving around as I did.